Carolina Panthers fans, NFL draft nerds, welcome in to Rogue Football. We have got a 7-round Carolina Panthers mock draft, and hey, guess what? It is draft month. NFL draft just over 3 weeks away. So the Panthers, this is a franchise that not had a lot of success as of late, but I think they're headed in the right direction, and I think they are in a big, big way. You look at what they have with Bryce Young, who took big steps forward last year, in Dave Canales' offense. I think Dave Canales is proving to be one of the better offensive coaches in the league, which he's shown, in Tampa, coming over to Carolina, getting Bryce Young going. And then I think that Dan Morgan, who has Carolina roots, played football there for a long time, I think they've got a good thing going. And they have the 8th overall pick. They've got a lot of draft capital. So I'm excited to get into this mock draft. They've spent a good bit over the last couple years. I love what they have with their offensive line. Again, Bryce Young, I'm a big fan of. I think Jalen Coker was an absolute steal last year for them, which is awesome. Getting him where they were able to get him, as a undrafted free agent. Xavier Legette comes in as well. I think that he could have a bright future. Adam Thielen, certainly in the twilight of his career at receiver. You look at the tight end room, you've got some guys to feel excited about there. Tommy Tremble, Jatavion Sanders, Jordan Matthews, a converted tight end there too. In the running back room, you've got Chuba Hubbard, who you gave a nice deal to, Jonathan Brooks. Hopefully you can get him back at some point. You've got some decent guys. Rico Dowdle comes in, Raheem Blackshear. And then defensively, Derek Brown needs to come back healthy. He's a pillar of this franchise, really good football player. You sign J.C. Horn to a huge deal. You go out and get Bobby Brown and Tershawn Wharton on the interior, two guys I really like, and I do love Ejiro Evero as well as their defensive coordinator. There's some spots we can certainly stand to upgrade. I think you could look at linebacker. I think you could look at safety opposite Trayvon Merrick. I think you can still upgrade at corner. I know Mike Jackson's a decent football player, only under contract for one more year. You could go and get a young guy to kind of pair with J.C. Horn on a rookie deal for the next several years. I do like Chow Smith-Wade at nickel. And so I think we can upgrade at edge. I think we can potentially go on the interior as well, because I don't think Tershawn Wharton or Bobby Brown are necessarily going to be long-term answers, but they are guys I'm excited about for the short term. We just need to get good football players in here that can upgrade this roster in a big way. So that's what we're going to try to do over on the PFF Mock Draft Simulator. I'm going to fire it up for y'all right now, and we're going to get into this. At 8, should the Panthers be interested in potentially trading down? I think so. The way the board falls here is pretty interesting, fairly chalky overall. I think most of these guys you do expect to go in the top 7. Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders both off the board. Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter both off the board. Ashton Genty, the top back in the class. And then Mason Graham and Will Campbell. So that's fairly chalky, quite honestly. Looking at who's interested in trading, you got the Panthers at pick 16. Would that potentially work? If I'm moving down to 16, I'm getting at least a second-round pick. This trade will likely be accepted, so we're going to try to get even more, I would say. We've got a lot of draft capital in this class. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks in the top 140. If we trade down and get 47, that gives us another one. And you can get 115 as well. I think that's a trade I'd be willing to do. Maybe we look at adding a future pick as well. Yeah, another 4. So you get 16, 47, 115, and a 2026 4th-round pick for 8 overall. I think that's an absolute haul. Trade accepted. Resume draft. We're moving on down the board here. So who is still available for us? Malachi Starks at a position of need at 16 overall. That is difficult for me to turn down. And look, do you want to have positional value in mind in the first round? I think you do, but you don't let that supersede drafting great football players. Malachi Starks is a blue chip prospect, in my opinion. No, he did not test the most amazing, but you look at the on-field work, you look at the play on the field at Georgia over the last 3 years. He's shown versatility as a safety and a nickel. He's a good tackler. He's a sound coverage player. He's got playmaking ability in spades. I think Malachi Starks, pairing him with Trayvon Merrick in this defense, would be a home run at 16 overall. I simply cannot move past that, but we will take a look at some guys. I think Jihad Campbell has the potential to be an unbelievable off-ball linebacker, which again is a position that could be addressed there. Mike Green, to me, at 16 is rich. I just don't see him being that level of player. I do think that Luther Burden, if you want to pair him with Jalen Coker and Xavier Legette long term, that makes a ton of sense to me. Luther Burden is someone who's being overthought in this draft, overlooked in this draft. I'm not sure why exactly. He's had a productive college career. He's shown the explosiveness, the strength, the strong hands, both in open situations and as a contested catch guy. He's shown ball tracking ability down the field. I think the one thing you would like to see more of is the route running. But guess what? Just because he wasn't running more routes, more of the route tree at Missouri, doesn't mean he can't. I think physically everything I've seen from him suggests that he can be a much more dynamic route runner and a true Z, if not an X, in the NFL. So Luther Burden definitely in play. Donovan Ezraku would be in play, but I'm looking down this list of names and I just cannot get past how high I value Malachi Starks as, a top 7, top 8 player in this class for me. Getting that type of player at 16 overall would be a coup. And now you have two stalwarts back there at safety who can really help get this defense going in the right direction. So what do we got here? Oh, man, Maxwell Harrison, that would be a lot of fun. Demetrius Knight, a good football player as well. Savon Ravel, only available at this spot because of an injury. Pairing up Harrison and J.C. Horn could be fantastic. I mean, now you're talking, if you went and got Harrison and J.C. Horn, Harrison with J.C. Horn, Malachi Starks with Trayvon Merrick, you're now talking about maybe having one of the best secondaries in football. You're maybe being able to talk about matching up with some of the powerhouse offenses in the NFC really well. We're not going to turn the pick in yet, but that's certainly a direction I'm intrigued by. At edge, I think you've kind of lost the top guys. I do like Braden Swinson, but I'm not sure that he's going to be the type of difference maker that Maxwell Harrison's going to be at the next level. JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer, Jared Ivey, Kyle Kennard, Josiah Stewart. I think all these guys can be starters. I think Harrison has the chance to be like a really, really good starter. Same with Savon Ravel. Jaden Higgins, man, goodness gracious. I have him like almost in the top 32. He's like top 35 player for me. I think that his skill set with what you have would be pretty tremendous. A guy that can go up and be a 50-50 ball guy, but can also separate 6'3", almost 6'4", 215 pounds, Velcro hands, both in contested catch and uncontested situations, but much better route runner, more fluid athlete than you would expect at his size. That's tough to pass on for me. Carson Schwessinger's still on the board. I know PFF doesn't necessarily view linebacker as a need, but and I'm not trying to invoke Luke Kuechly. I don't think that's fair to any linebacker coming in, but I will say this about Carson Schwessinger. He could be the best linebacker they've had since Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis left the building. This guy has tremendous feet, great coverage ability, does not miss tackles, did not start a lot of football games, former walk-on, but insane athlete, great size, great tackler, great coverage player. He's probably the highest ranked player on my board. And again, somebody who I think you're talking about locking up the spine of this defense with Schwessinger and Malachi Starks. Tough for me to pass on. I think that's the direction we got to go here. Just get a defense. And, as much as you want to upgrade at wide receiver, which we do, and I still think we can, getting a young quarterback like Bryce Young, a potentially elite defense, goes a long, long way. I think that's what we're doing here, working towards at least. Now, let's take a look at the edge. We've still got some of the guys we were talking about here at 57. I think we could potentially still wait. I love Femi Oladejo and Ashton Gelati a little bit later on. I don't know why they're being overlooked, quite frankly. At receiver, we've got Trey Harris, who can be a possession type X. We've got Jalen Noel, who can be a move player. Jalen Royals, same thing. Let's see about corner. Darian Porter, Benjamin Moore. Oh, Jacob Parrish. Goodness gracious, folks. We've got some dudes on the board. I think Jacob Parrish, who ran really well, he's strong as all get out. He's quick. He's physical. Not the biggest guy, but J.C. Horn is your bigger bodied corner. Jacob Parrish, matching up with him or pairing up with him, who Jacob Parrish does have the length you need outside at corner. He has the strength and the athleticism. He just isn't quite as tall as you would typically want. And if he was a little bit taller, he'd probably be talking about a first round pick. So getting him at the end of round 2, I think is a huge move for these Carolina Panthers. And now you're talking about this defense is absolutely loaded with young talent. It is. And so let's take a look at wide receiver. Jalen Noel still on the board at 74. I cannot pass on him because even though he's also not the biggest dude out there, he can play in the slot. He can play the Z. He's got, like his teammate, Jaden Higgins, Velcro hands. He's great in contested catch situations. He's explosive. He's physical. He's fast, 4.3, 40-yard dash. Great route runner. Yeah, I think this is the type of dude that would thrive with our guy Bryce Young. And now we're at 111. What do we got? What do we got at edge? I think we could take a couple swings. Ashton Gelati, let's go ahead and put him on the board. Love the skill set there. And we had just missed out on Femi Oladejo, which is okay. I like Q Robinson a lot out of Alabama. Didn't get as much playing time as you would like just because, at Alabama, there's just always dudes. Always dudes. Lawson could have come out this year. So let's go ahead and put Q Robinson on the board here. 4th round pick who is got all the tangibles that you're looking for. And when he was on the field as a rusher last year for Alabama, he was very productive in that role. Length, athleticism, explosiveness. The tape is strong when you just isolate him in true pass rush sets. Love it. Love what we're doing here. Now, I look at running back as like a pseudo need. Just simply because Jonathan Brooks has had a lot of trouble staying healthy. I know you have Hubbard and went and signed Rico Dowdle, so it's not like a major need, but if you have the ability to add somebody like a Bashal Tootin, a Jadon Blue to this offense to really up the explosiveness factor, I think that's something you have to consider. We'll also look at the interior of the defensive line. Jamari Caldwell's such a stud. I love that guy. Yeah, I say we go get Jamari Caldwell. I think he can be a nose for you, but he can also provide some penetration. And again, yes, you have Tershawn Wharton and you have Bobby Brown, but neither of those guys is on like mega long-term contracts. Torrey Horton's still available. Man, I love that guy. Let's see what, and Kyle Williams, goodness gracious. Kyle Williams, I think he projects as a starting receiver as well. So you could be talking about a group long-term of Xavier Legette as kind of your X factor, your guy you can do a lot of different things with, just an unbelievable athlete. Man, it's a lot. That's a lot of investment at the receiver position with Xavier Legette, with going and get Jalen Noel. Jalen Coker was, a free investment basically. Adam Thielen maybe in his last year. keep an eye on that. We'll think about that there. I honestly think that Torrey Horton or Kyle Williams is going to be one of the best values you can find. And Ty Felton, Jalen Lane, good football players too. I think this is an underrated wide receiver class. I just can't pass on Kyle Williams this late in the draft. At round 5. He is, 5'11", 190, explosive, great hands, great route runner. With the ball in his hand, he is really hard to get on the ground. So it's just too many points in his favor. We've got a lot of defensive linemen now at this point. Let's go ahead and take a look at running back. I think, Trevor Etienne, Jarquez Hunter, Kyle Monungai, Jordan James, Marcus Yarns. I mean, all these guys I think could be nice swings. LaQuint Allen. I think what you could go for is a bigger back. I think Kyle Monungai can bring some of that physicality you really want to see in that backfield. Good in pass pro, really good at showing vision and patience in the backfield. And then once he gets to the second level, he can either make you miss or run through you. He's not going to be an absolute burner, but somebody who can just bring some balance and steadiness to that running back position. We can always look to upgrade the long-term outlook at interior offensive line. Miles Frazier, how is he still available? To me, that's a guy that should be more of a day 2 pick potentially. Future starting guard. You've got a couple of expensive guards in Carolina right now. Miles Frazier can come in the next couple of years and take over one of those spots. I love that. Absolutely. So final pick here that we've got. Rondé Gadsden, a real big pass-catching tight end. Gosh, how is he available? Why not? Why not add one more tight end to this room? Well, you've got Jatavion Sanders. I mean, Trimble can block a little bit. He's a really good value at this point. He's a really good value. I don't know how Ty Robinson's always available, too. That's pretty weird. Got to take Ty Robinson. Energy, effort, explosiveness. Ty Robinson, interior defensive lineman out of Nebraska. And what a draft this would be for your Carolina Panthers. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below, obviously. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. And we're going to review this here real quick. Malachi Starks at 16 is just unbelievable. Being able to trade down, add an extra second, a 4th-round pick, and a 2026 4th-round pick. Still land Malachi Starks, Carson Swessinger, and Jacob Parrish to start this draft is incredible. Jalen Noel comes in as a truly dynamic wide receiver option that I think Bryce Young is going to love. And then you continue to stack the defense with Ashton Gelati, Q Robinson, Jamari Caldwell, going getting some offensive players and depth for now, but future impact players, I think, in Kyle Williams, Kyle Monungai, and Miles Frazier, and then capping it off with Ty Robinson. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.